Hey everyone! Welcome back to my channel. It's Nadia and today we're gonna be doing our bullet journal setup for the month of February. And to be honest with you, I'm not really sure how I feel about this theme because it's something that is so out of my comfort zone. I tried to challenge myself and create a theme that is based on using a lot of washi tapes in my bullet journal, and so I decided to go with this love letter theme. So for this bullet journal setup, I'm gonna be using my Sakura washi tape set that I got from Notebook Therapy. And the reason why I wanted to choose this theme is because before, I noticed that I always felt too scared to use my nice stickers or washi tapes. I felt like I needed to just save them for a future occasion, and then I just end up with a huge collection of stationery that I just never use. And so if you also have a lot of beautiful stickers and washi tapes that you've just been saving, I definitely encourage you to just take them out and start using them in your bullet journal because the best opportunity to use them is right now. So let's get started with this February bullet journal setup. The cover page is gonna be fairly simple. The first thing that I'm gonna do is draw a portion of a rectangle with some rounded edges, and I really like having the rounded edges because it's such a simple detail, but it helps to make your drawings look a little bit softer and cuter as well. Next, I'm gonna be choosing a stamp design that is part of this washi tape, and this washi tape is my absolute favorite. It's so unique. I've never had a washi tape that is a collection of stamps before, and I really love the golden details and how much it just reflects the light and looks super cute and shiny. I'm also gonna take this other washi tape that is also part of the same Sakura collection from Notebook Therapy, and I'm just gonna put it next to the side of the envelope, and then I'm also gonna draw a couple of floral designs around the washi tape, and I really wanted to make it look as if there are a couple of flowers that is taped onto my bullet journal. Now, I really wanted to keep the floral designs to be black and white. I really wanted most of the colors in this theme to come out from the washi tape itself, and so I really wanted to just keep most of my doodles very minimal and just black and white. And personally for me, a cover page doesn't feel complete without writing out the name of the month, and so I'm just taking my Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen to hand letter February for this cover page. And then because I feel like the stamp didn't stand out enough, I also wanted to take my Sakura Pigma Micron pen and do a little outline of the stamp to really emphasize it more in the cover page. So usually for my bullet journal monthly setup, I like to put a quote page next to my cover page. However, I didn't really have a quote that really fit this theme, and I didn't really have a quote that really spoke to me for this month. So instead, what I wanted to do is just have a page of different lettering ideas so that it can keep me inspired throughout the month. And the first thing that I'm gonna do is just create a little border and add a little bit of washi tapes around the rectangles as well to add a little bit of color and decoration into this page. And let me know in the comments down below if there is a specific layout that you like to keep for your bullet journal monthly setups. For example, I typically like to do a quote page next to my cover page, and then the next pages is usually followed by a goals page or any of my tracker pages as well. So I'm curious to know what kind of pages you guys like to include for your monthly bullet journal setups as well. So now let's go back to the lettering ideas, and we're gonna start with a really easy one. So the first thing that I like to do when it comes to title ideas for your bullet journal is to have some colored shapes for each individual letter. Now, I decided to go with some pink squares, but you can do the same thing with circles or triangles. And then with a different colored pen, you can just write each individual letter inside each shape. The next lettering idea is going to be focused on creating some contrast for each individual letter. So what you want to do is have one part of the letter with this bold colored style, and then the remaining part of the letter is going to just have a thin line. And so this really creates a nice contrast of thick and thin line, and it creates just a really nice bold look for your letters. The next lettering idea that I'm gonna show you might be the hardest one and the most time-consuming one, but you can also make it simpler as well. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is draw a banner. What you can do is just draw a couple of lines and then connect them together like I'm doing here. And what I wanna do is just create a little bit of floral designs on top and under the banner as well. And so as you can see here, I'm just varying a couple of different floral and leaf designs on top and under the banner. you can choose to do the same type of design throughout the banner, or you can choose to do a variety of leaf designs like I did here. And then you can also do the same thing at the bottom of the banner. Then you can also decide to color in the leaves. For this example, I decided to color them in black. You can also try to add some color designs if you want to, or just leave them blank. If you want to have an easier version of this, you can simply just not draw any florals at all and just keep the banner design and then write the name of the month right on top of the banner. I find that that already gives such a nice look to your titles, and so that's a simple way for you to use this title idea as well. Another really unique lettering idea that you can try for your bullet journal is to also add some leaf designs to the lettering itself. And it's actually pretty simple to recreate this for your bullet journal lettering. So what you want to do is just choose one line in that letter and just try to add some leaf designs around that line. Now the next lettering idea is a different variation of the one with the banner, but instead of having the floral design above and below the banner, instead we're also gonna add the floral design on the left and on the right of the banner. I find this to be a lot simpler and faster, and it's also a really great way for you to add a pop of color by coloring the banners as well. So the next thing that I'm gonna do for my February bullet journal setup is to create some Dutch door tabs. Now, if you're not familiar with the term Dutch doors when it comes to your bullet journal, basically it means that you want to cut a portion of your bullet journal page to be able to reveal the pages behind it. And the reason why I want to call this tabs is that when I'm cutting up the page, I also want to keep a portion of the first page so that I can create this little pop-up tab like you see here. And so I'm just gonna do that to all of the pages, and for the part that is sticking out, I'm also gonna cover that tab with some washi tape to add some color to the tabs as well. Now you can get really creative with this and you can put a different washi tape design for each tab, but Dutch door tabs are another great way for you to incorporate your washi tapes inside your bullet journal designs as well. And whenever I'm cutting up a portion of my bullet journal page, I like to keep that in case I make some mistakes and I want to use an extra page to cover it up later, and you're actually going to see me do that shortly in this bullet journal setup as well. And if you really like the idea of Dutch doors, I have a whole video that is dedicated to different Dutch door ideas that you can include in your bullet journal, so feel free to check out that video after this one so you can see other ways that you can create a Dutch door in your bullet journal. Now this is a super small detail, but I also like to take a paper rounder and just round off the pages of the Dutch door pages that I've cut. I just find that it makes your bullet journal pages look so much cuter, and it just blends in with all of the other rounded pages in your bullet journal. The next page that I'm gonna include for my February bullet journal setup is going to be my monthly goals page. Now for this month, my focus is really to build on my YouTube channel. However, you can definitely customize this to other things even if you're not a YouTuber. So what I like to do is think about one big goal for the month and then break that down into smaller actionable pieces for each week of the month. And so I find it really motivating to have a different milestone for each week. I find that it keeps you motivated, especially when you're working towards a big goal that is really long term as well. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is just decorate the top left part of the page. What I did is just color in a pink square, and what I wanted to do after is add another stamp design on top of this square that kind of overlaps between the two squares. Another thing that I really like to include in my goals page to help me stay empowered is to also write my mission, or the reason why I started to chase for that goal in the first place. I find this to be really helpful, especially when you have a long-term goal. It's completely normal that we're not gonna feel super motivated or empowered every single day, but I find that having a reminder of why you started to chase towards that goal in the first place is a really great reminder for you on those days where you're just not really feeling it and you need a little bit of motivation. And so this is something that I absolutely love to include in my goals page. If you have a goals page in your bullet journal, let me know what you like to include so that you can can stay motivated for any of your long-term or short-term goals as well. So when it comes to my goals for my YouTube channel, I like to remind myself of why I started this channel in the first place. And so for me, the reason why I created this channel was that I really wanted to empower others to also pursue their creativity with bullet journaling. Looking back, I can definitely see how there was a period in my life where I just felt really unfulfilled. I felt unmotivated, stressed out, and anxious all the time. And looking back, I can definitely tell that it was because I definitely did not have a creative outlet at the time, which is something that is really crucial for me personally. And the reason why I kind of gave up my creative outlet is because I was kind of discouraged from pursuing my creativity. I was either told by the people around me that I should be spending my time doing more productive things, or I was made to feel like art is only reserved for the people who are already super talented and is the top 1% of artists out there. However, after I realized how miserable I was without a creative outlet and how happy I became after I started pursuing my creativity again, I really wanted to break away from that notion, and I also wanted to encourage other people that they have every right to pursue their own creativity. I definitely disagree that pursuing art is not productive. I definitely feel like having a creative outlet is really productive, especially if that's a way for you to express yourself. And I also disagree that art is only reserved for the best artists out there, because I think the most beautiful thing about art is that we're all unique, and it's really a unique expression of how we feel and how we see the world. I don't think I've ever seen anyone create exactly two identical pieces of art, and I think that's really the best thing, is that nobody is gonna create the art the way that you're gonna create art. So feel free to create whatever makes you happy, and my mission with this channel is really to be able to create a space for all of us creatives to just express ourselves and our creativity. And even though this mission just seems insanely huge for me, I like to just break it down and focus on what are the things that I can do right here, right now. And so for my goals page, I decided to create this little table tracker, and so each column is really gonna represent each week of the month, and then each row is really gonna represent all of the steps that I need to take in order to complete that weekly goal. However, if you're not a YouTube creator, you can also change this to a weekly goal and put each row as the different days of the week, and so that it can allow you to focus on what are the steps that you can take every single day in order to get you closer to your bigger goal. The next page I want to include for my bullet journal monthly setup is going to be a brain dump page. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have heard me talk about how I don't really like the term brain dump. There's just something about the word dump that just doesn't sit right with me, and so for this month I decided to call this page a letter to myself, and it's gonna be a really simple page. What I wanted to do is draw kind of this zigzag page that will really mimic the look of a letter, and then I'm just gonna put a little stamp in the top right corner and just leave it as is, and it's really gonna have a lot of space for me to just write up my thoughts throughout the month. Next page that I'm going to include for my February bullet journal setup is going to be my monthly trackers, and so I decided to do two circle trackers side by side, and one of them is going to be focused on my habit tracker, which is going to be meditation, and then the other one is really going to be focused on my financial goals. And so I really want to track the days where I am spending money and whether I'm spending money towards necessities or something that I just purely want. And the circle tracker is actually a lot simpler than it looks to create. So what I like to do is just take a piece of tape and use that as an outline to create the inner and outer circle. And because the month of February has 28 days, what I like to do is just split the circle into 4 different quarters. And then within each quarter, I want to divide that into 7 equal sections. And so this way you can easily get 28 sections into your circle tracker for the month of February. A meditation tracker and a finance tracker was something that I used in my January bullet journal setup, and it was something that I absolutely loved. So when it comes to the meditation tracker, I found that it was really helpful because it made me more consistent with implementing this habit. I realized that I didn't want to skip a day in meditating just because I wanted to make sure that the circle tracker was fully complete. And even though that seems like a silly goal to have to make sure that nothing is left out in my bullet journal, it just feels really motivating, and it was really nice for me to have it all colored started and completed. And so there was many days where I really didn't feel like meditating, but just because I didn't want to have an empty part in my tracker, I actually forced myself to meditate, and over time I realized how it was actually really helpful for me in trying to implement that habit. And so this is something that I really want to try again for the month of February. So when it comes to my financial tracker, what I wanted to do is track the days where I would spend money on necessities or spend money on the things that I just purely wanted. Now what I realized after having this tracker in my bullet journal in the month of January was that it actually encouraged me to wait out a lot of my purchases. So what I would want to do is wait out the purchases so that I can combine them all in one day, and so that I can only mark it all down in one day in my bullet journal. Now just the fact of making me wait out my purchases actually helped me to not buy a lot of the things that I initially wanted to buy, and in the end it actually helped me to reduce a lot of the times that I was shopping. And I think this can be a really great tool that can help me overcome my addiction to shopping. And so this is something that I want to try again in the month of February to help me control my shopping and help me reduce the amount of time that I go shopping in general. So the next page that I want to include for my February bullet journal setup is going to be my memories page. This is something that I first saw on Instagram from the account Monday Morning Design, and ever since I tried it in my bullet journal, I just became obsessed with this page. This is always my favorite page to fill out in my bullet journal, and one of the reasons why I love it so much is that not only does it help me to be more present in my day-to-day life, but it also gives me the space to practice lettering or doodling every single day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. And so to fit my overall theme for the month of February, I decided to turn each square for every single day into the shape of a stamp. This way, each stamp is gonna represent each day in the month of February, and I can fill it out with a little doodle or lettering for how the day went. And honestly, this is also a page that helps me stay more consistent with my bullet journal, because if I don't write what I did for that day, it's so easy for me to forget. So if ever I miss a day and I try to fill it out the next days, I actually draw a blank and I have no idea what I did in the previous days. And so this page actually encourages me to use my journal every single day. And let me know in the comments down below if there's a specific page in your bullet journal that also helps you stay more consistent with it as well. The next page that I want to include for my February bullet journal setup is actually going to be a wish list page. Now this is the first time that I'm adding a page like this into my bullet journal, but I really wanted to create this page because I also wanted to have another page that can also help me reduce my shopping. So my goal with this page is to write a list of all of the things that I want to purchase, and I also want to make a goal to myself that I won't buy anything if it hasn't been listed on my wish list for a couple of days or even a couple of weeks. So this is something that I want to try out to be able to reduce a lot of my impulse spending, because what usually happens for me is I would see something really cute on YouTube or Instagram and then I would want to buy it right away, and it's these little things that add up over time. And so hopefully by reducing my impulse spending, I can also reduce the amount of times that I shop and just build a better self-control in general when it comes to spending my money and shopping. So this is kind of embarrassing, but I actually forgot to press record when I was filming my book review page. But anyways, the other page that I also wanted to add in my bullet journal is going to be a book review page. Now what I also have been doing lately is to reduce the amount of time that I'm using social media before bed and replacing it with reading a book instead. Now I actually enjoy this a lot. I think when you find a good book that you really enjoy, it's actually really easy to implement this habit. And so the spread itself is going to be really simple. It's just going to have a lot of space for me to be able to write up my thoughts after I finish reading a book. What I also want to do is add some black washi tape to the right side of the page, and I like to do this anytime I'm creating a Dutch door just because I find that it really helps to emphasize the Dutch door that you created. And so it's just a nice little simple touch that I think makes your Dutch door look just that much cuter. Thank you guys so much for joining me for my February bullet journal setup. Leave me the emoji of a star if you made it till the very end, because I know this video was kind of a longer one, but I really had fun just sitting here and chatting with you guys. Let me know if you have any goals for the month of February, or if you're reading any good books right now. I always have such a great time just chatting with you guys, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.